Hickok 45 here. Today we're going. Oh, there's a Desperado. Yeah, he was making a snide remark. I didn't like that. In fact, I'm going to hit him again. Take that, you Desperado. As I was trying to say before I was so rudely interrupted, today we're going to look at the Glock 44. Okay, got all my 44 Magnum and 44 Special out, and we're going to fire this thing. Let's go up to the shooting table, give you a look at it, and we might shoot it a little more. How's that? Yes, the Glock 44, and that was a joke. It does not use 44 Magnum ammo. Oh yes, I'm always testing the gullibility of you viewers, aren't I? Yeah, and it's a 22 long rifle. Yeah, 22. Gosh, who'd have thunk it? Glock would ever make one of these. And as you're looking at that beautiful thing, let me thank SDI.edu, the Sonoran Desert Institute. They were a major supporter, and we appreciate them so much. Check out all the distance learning courses you can take there in firearms technology. Learn how to get into gunsmithing and other areas of firearms technology. So SDI.edu, we appreciate you. Yep, that was federal ammo. I'm going to fire a bunch of federal ammo through this thing and talk about it. So it's a widely discussed firearm. We are not going to reinvent the wheel. I'll share some things I have seen and heard on the interwebs about it. It's been out a little while. A lot of people have shot it. Some people have had problems with it. Some people have not had problems with it. So you got a variety of experiences out there. And I'll tell you about our experience. Okay? Bang. You know, the trigger is not that bad. It's almost like a real Glock trigger. I mean, I was telling John, it's really almost like a Glock. It feels just like one. Yeah, it's very similar to my Glock 19s in the trigger. And I happen to have one right here, a Glock 19. And they're just very, very similar. Yeah. The only difference is the weight of the gun. And the trigger's a little heavier, I would say. Okay? So what I was firing right there, and that will be part of the discussion, of course, a major part, is the ammo. The bottom line is they seem to be, it appears, a little picky about the ammo, okay, that they want. Imagine that with a 22 semi-automatic. That's pretty much the case. One of the things you've heard me say over the years is often, actually, with a 22 autoloader, whether it's a rifle or a handgun, the question is not whether it's going to malfunction. The question is, when is it going to malfunction? How many rounds can you get through it before it malfunctions? Because, 22 ammo is generally kind of dirty, and just the whole design of them, I guess we ask them to do too much with that cartridge rimfire. They're going to malfunction. Sometimes some of them are really jam-o-matics, and they're no fun. And since we don't really carry these, for self-protection, 22 long rifle, probably, it's a more of an annoyance factor than anything, is what it comes down to. That's the way I feel about 22 automatics. My 1022, I've got a Model 60 Marlin, I've got the Model 41 semi-automatic Smith & Wesson 22. What else do I have? I've got a Ruger, what was that, SR22 it was called? And with me on all of them, I know they're going to malfunction. It's just a matter of when and how annoying they are. If it's after 20 rounds, or it's after you fired 100, or maybe some will go through 500 rounds before they. That's a rare bird. Okay. All right. So I should be loaded while I'm talking here. Okay. I'll load these mags. I'll just well, those were mini mags. You always get you get good experience with CCI mini mags. This is some bulk 36 grain ammo from Federal. Been shooting some of it. So as I load this, let me give you the lowdown here. John and I have fired over 300 rounds through this one. Okay. Did not set out to do the ultimate test. So many people have fired it. We know some of the problems, so it's really just a matter of whether we have those problems or not, or how many of them we have. Okay. Just to maybe confirm, yep, it doesn't like certain kinds of ammo, or maybe this particular one does better with certain kinds of ammo and that sort of thing. And you've probably by now seen, if you're looking and interested in one of these, a lot of the information that's out there. And kind of the take on it so far is tends not to like maybe bulk ammo as well. It seems to want hot ammo or heavy ammo, like at least 40 grain ammo. Okay, or just hot ammo like a Stinger. I've got a few of those. I'm about out of those, but they are like 32 grain. Is that right? Yeah, 32 grain, but they're very hot. They're 1640 feet per second out of a rifle. So even though they're light, those I fired those in it. They seem to work in it fine. So it wants warm ammo, generally speaking. But when you get down the list to bulk ammo that is not too heavy and not too hot, you might have a few issues. Or if you've got a hard case, you might get a light ammo strike. Okay, so you can have some of that. In other words, you might not want to take it into combat. All right. I have the benefit too. We don't try to get the firearms right away anyway. Of seeing 22 Plinkster and then Tim Military Arms Channel go through the paces with this thing, and so I kind of knew what to expect from them. So far I've been pleasantly surprised. We've had some malfunctions, but not extensively. So I thought, well, thank goodness it's working most of the time. I fired right out of the gate. I thought, well, I'm going to start out with stuff that usually works pretty well and see how it does. So the CCI mini mags, these are 36 grain, 1260 feet per second, out of a rifle probably. These, I fired 120 rounds and had one malfunction, one failure to feed, one got hung up and smashed up. Maybe I've saved over there somewhere. But so out of 120, just had one of those. Okay, that's when it was right out of the box. Have fired probably at least 125 or 50 or so of these, and they seem to be doing well. John had one malfunction before the video just a little while ago. Okay, and it was a failure to, no, it was a light primer strike, right, John? Light primer strike, I think, yeah, on one of these, and then recocked it and it fired. Okay, so that's been our experience. I fired some of these. These are kind of a nickel case, and they might be a little harder. Oops, I had one of these with a light primer strike. Okay, I didn't fire that many of them, but just trying to give you an idea, because a lot of people are doing a lot of talk about ammo, what's working, what's not. Fired a few of these, regular velocity, 22, and they work fine. Didn't fire all that many. Okay, so that's sort of the rundown of what we've been doing. Now I was going to fire some silver bullets, but I did want to melt down my these silver dollars from APMEX. Appreciate APMEX.com's help. Check the links in our description and go through those links and check them out. There's a Hitchcock's 45 favorites page, and then their regular link there. Those are actual real silver dollars, by the way, and that's just an example of what you can find there. Those are so cool. Yeah, and if you like precious metal like copper and lead, brass, you probably like silver and maybe even gold, right? So anyway, so that's kind of been my experience. Over 300 rounds, so total of probably what's that, about 4 misfires or malfunctions, maybe 5, that kind of thing. All right, now I'm shooting different ammo here. I'm shooting this bulk ammo, and again, we've been having pretty good luck with it. So, and then I don't want to just talk about ammo. You know the gun, it's got a 4-inch barrel. It's like a Glock 19, right? It's basically the same firearm, okay? And I've replaced the sights on my 19 here, Gen 4, and put grips on it, Talon grips on it. But other than that, it's the same size, same feel, except what? You're right, it's not as heavy. It's got a polymer frame. It's a mixture of polymer and steel. It's steel in the right places. Let me go ahead and show you real quick. It's kind of they call it a hybrid polymer and steel frame. It breaks down the same way as any Glock. It's just a little stiffer. Okay, you get it. Back her off. Why? Really stiff. Usually when that happens to me, I look, oh, I had the magazine still in it. That spring looks like a Gen 4 spring, doesn't it? And you see the barrel. You've got a little tiny 22 caliber barrel, right? And other than that, then you've got this frame that's lined with steel, partly polymer, but steel where it needs to be. You got your firing pin block here, see, and everything that you need to have, your striker. So, interesting design. Now the barrel is it's used from a straight blowback, so it's kind of a fixed barrel. It doesn't move. And get this back in there the right way. All right, putting it back together, but it's very light slide, and of course, basically the same frame. So not too heavy. All right, now let's fire some of these. Again, these are the bulk ammo, 36 grains. And we've been having, like I said, pretty good luck with them. But you never know what's going to happen in a video. Let's put it in a holster here again to show you. Yeah, Glock 19 holster. It works. So if you see some pot that needs smoking, you can just pull it out and... Woo! Boom. I didn't bring my mag pouch. I can't do any combat reloads. All right. Oh, how about some Kentucky 2-liters? All right. I love a 22, what it does to a 2-liter. They put on a show, don't they, sometimes? Well, we got a couple of rounds left. What about the gong? Why don't we wake him up? Uh-oh. Okay, so we had a click there. My guess is it's a light primer strike. Another thing that some folks have experienced is the slide overriding the round and not picking up a round, but mag's in, so it should have picked up a round. So my guess is it's a light primer strike. Let's see if I can cock it again without malfunctioning. Hey, it did. So it took 2 strikes on that one. Now let's try the gong. I hear it. I hear the old gong ringing. So we had a light primer strike there. Okay, that's the same thing John had. Okay. Now, I don't know what that would have to do with the weight. It's just some cases are harder than others. And the thing is, as with any 22, I think it even says that in the manual, find the ammo that the gun likes. That's what you pretty much have to do. Okay? And one of the negatives that has been pointed out by Tim and 22 Plankster and other people is one of the advantages of a 22 pistol, handgun, whatever it is, rifle, is you can get relatively inexpensive ammo, at least now, again, these days, and go shoot a bunch of it, without spending too much money like you would with 9mm or 40 or 45 and that sort of thing. And so you want, bulk ammo, which is generally less expensive, right? You want it to be able to fire that stuff, okay? The more premium stuff is more expensive. And so if you get into ammo that is too pricey, then you might as well be firing at 9mm, right? So it just depends on how much you shoot when you get out 22 and that sort of thing. Honestly, I don't shoot 22s very much, so I almost don't speak to any of this with that much authority, really, because I would just say, I was telling John, I would rather, my preference, I enjoy bigger centerfire stuff more, okay? And before you start calling me a snob, an elitist or something, I personally would rather shoot my Glock 19, that's just me, whatever the price differential is, I would rather shoot 1 box of 9mm this afternoon than like 4 or 5 boxes of 22, through this, whatever it would take to equal the 1 box of 9mm. Okay, so I would rather shoot fewer rounds, bigger bore stuff. I've just always been that way. Since when I was a teenager, I shot a lot of 22, but that's just kind of the way I am. Okay, so I can't relate. Like, you'll never see me getting frustrated about a 22 pistol because I can't find the right ammo for it and won't, at the price I want and all that kind of stuff. That's just never has been a part of my in orientation. All right, so it's nice if it fires less expensive stuff, bulk stuff, because what happens? Why is stuff in bulk? Usually the bulk ammo is going to be lighter ammo. All the companies are trying to make ammo as inexpensive as they can, but works. And so you're more likely to have misfires out of any firearm, right? And it's like 9mm. If you go look for bulk 9mm, it's most of the time going to be 115 grain ammo, And I prefer 124 or 147 grain 9mm ammo. So it doesn't help me to have bulk ammo available sometimes. It's not the bullet I want to shoot. I want it to be as close to what I carry as I possibly can, right? All right, so let me be loading while I'm yakking. I don't want to take all night. I should, let's this is not going to be an ammo, a big test. You know, this thing has been tested. We know we're going to get some malfunctions probably, and we're not going to, you know, lose a lot of sleep over it. It's just going to happen. Some people have had a huge number of malfunctions. We just have one occasionally. You know, you're going to have them. It just depends on how easily annoyed you are, I guess. For me, if I have a malfunction out of every 30 or 40 rounds, you know, just rack, slide, and go on. It's not a big deal. So 22. And one thing I noticed, Tim did a couple of videos on this, and correct me if I say anything wrong. In the first video, he had a lot of problems with the magazines and things, and then he came back, and it's just this morning it was posted, so it's perfect timing. It popped up on my YouTube. It was great. And he had revisit on this gun, and I said, oh good, I'm going to watch this, and we're going to do a video with it this afternoon. And he was talking about how when he was loading it, that maybe he was bringing the follower all the way down and kind of dumping them in. He had gloves on, it was really, really cold and everything, and that might have been part of it. But he was having a major issue with the rounds, you know, diving downward. And we've all seen magazines and where the bullets want to do that. You know, they end up stuck down. And boy, they're prone to malfunction when you have that, whatever the caliber is. So he was having some of that happening, the slide overriding the rounds and some things like that. And so he was just kind of revisiting with both Remington ammo, bulk ammo, and federal bulk ammo. And was being very, very careful. It was one of the main things he was doing, trying to be extremely careful loading the mags. And he was getting a better result, okay? And with both, I guess, both the federal and the Remington. I think he had no malfunctions maybe with the Remington, I don't know. Then he also had a Taurus, was it a TX-22, I'm not familiar with it, similar pistol out. And it was feeding everything with no malfunctions. So it looked like a nice pistol. Oh, I forgot I was loading some of those. Oh well, we'll just mix it up. Well, let's leave those there. We got those in this mag, okay, and those in this mag. But so he was having a better result generally in his revisit. So you know, it apparently makes a difference how you load the mag. Now me, I go way back. I'm accustomed to the old 1911 mags, and the aftermarket mags. How lots of times they just were not reliable. So I'm so accustomed to doing that. And so when I fired all those rounds the other day, that's what I was doing. I just naturally do that because I know that if there's one that's taking a deep dive, it's not going to feed. So I just always do that, make sure they're seated. Maybe it's not good for the mag, I don't know, but I just always do that. It's like you see the Vietnam guys banging them on their helmets, you know. And so that might be part of the reason I haven't had a lot of malfunctions. I've had some. So we'll shoot these, what are these, CCI, just standard velocity, okay. Now I've shot these and let's see, what do I have, one malfunction with these? I don't remember. Okay. Boom, let's hit a bowling pin, a red one. How about a real bowling pin? Whoop, we have the real thing on this range. Uh-oh, I must have missed it. It won't even swing those arms around on the tree. That's lame. So those work. Okay, we've got some more of the bulk ammo. All right, let's go over there and hit that. Let's hit the Buffalo and act like we're going to knock it over. How's that? I think I heard one or two hit it. I don't know why it didn't knock it over. Got to get some of that 44 ammo for it, don't I? So all that fired fine. So it looks like, even though some people are having malfunctions, and we've had some, that it's capable of doing okay. Okay, it's capable of doing all right. And so, you know, there you go. Now it is the same size. You can put, almost put one of these 22 caliber mags in my Glock 19. I don't think that'd work too well with it. Now one thing I did notice, you can put literally a 9mm mag in this 22, and it clicks in. I don't think it would fire. You're right. So they are the same size. You know, they both fit this Glock 19 holster just fine. You know, and all that. So One thing I thought I'd do, okay, two things. One of the things that always comes up with these, you've heard me maybe address this, is the talk of this being a trainer, because it's the same as this gun almost, right? And you shoot inexpensive 22 ammo, low recoil. Well, there's truth to that. My take on that, and this is strictly my opinion, and I'll go through this quickly. I think for a brand new shooter, that ain't a bad idea. Probably, you can hand them this, and they're not going to get a lot of recoil, a lot of loud blast, and maybe you're practicing coming out of the holster and shooting low recoil. I can see some merit in that. I really can. But now, once you reach a certain level and you're shooting real guns, and you're shooting 9s and 40s and 45s and all that, I don't see as much value in it at all, being able to go out and shoot less expensive ammo. Like I said, I'd rather shoot one box of 9mm than 4 of these anyway, talking the same cost, okay? Because I've kind of always maintained that it can mess you up. You get a different recoil, a different feel. Everything's different about it. Yeah, the gun's the same size. Grip feels the same, but a different weight, different recoil, the point of impact, and the reacquisition of your sight picture, and all that can change dramatically, okay? If it's a carry pistol, okay? All right, so that, I've told maybe a story. I went back and forth between 9mm and 40 for a while, period of time, in the same size gun, the Glock 23 versus the Glock 19, the Glock 26 versus the Glock 27. For new people, that's 40 versus 9mm. So I'd come out here, maybe I had a match, a Glock match, GSSF match. I'd be shooting my 9mm for a while. Then I get the 40, because I carried the 27 for a good while, and the 23, and I'd shoot it, And I'd shoot the 40s a good bit. And then I'd come back with a Glock 19 and shoot it. And I had to really adjust. The difference in the recoil, the sight acquisition after the shot, and what the gun does when you pull that trigger and getting back on target. Just going from 40 to 9 and 9 to 40, it kind of messed me up a little bit, and I got to go to one or the other. I got to ditch one of them. I really did. So if you're going from a 22, I don't know. I'll load up again here. If you're shooting, a lot of this gun, then you think when you put your Glock 19 in your holster, you're going to be combat ready. I'm not so sure about that. Okay, so I just kind of want to dispel that. It's not a myth, but it's not. For me, it is. Okay. What I thought I would do, I've got these mags loaded, you notice. I have not shot the 9 for, I don't know, a few days, so I'm going to load up this. I'll just put in some more of the good stuff we know is more likely to work. There's nothing guaranteed in a 22. So I'm just going to shoot 10 more. Then I'm going to pick up that Glock 19 with 9mm in it. And I've not done this yet. I just want to get a fresh feel for the difference. And maybe I'll change my mind. I don't know. Okay. All right, so I got my 9. Got 124 grain Federal in it. All right. Got 36 grain. No, I've got 36 grain CCI. All right. I'll even come out of the holster both times. All right. So I've been shooting this thing for a couple of days now, so it's kind of what my brain is programmed for. Okay. Nice gun, inexpensive to shoot. Let's put a real gun in my holster now. Oh yeah, that front sight's jumping all over the place. Let's go down those plates. Now I can shoot it okay, but boy, what a dramatic difference. Okay, and that's kind of my point. Be aware of that. And if you shoot a lot, you are aware of that. Okay, so for me, a gun like this is not. It's not a huge selling point that it's the same size as that, and it operates the same way and has the same trigger. I was just saying, if I'm gonna shoot 22, give me Dad's old Revelation here, Sentinel or Revelation. I'm happy to come out and plink with that, or my 617, or one of my other big old, my Model 41 Smith & Wesson, if I'm going to shoot 22s. Personally, it's not important to me at all to have a firearm the same size as another, real firearm I have in 22. So I just wanted to point that out, okay? So, yeah, but again, as a new shooter, I can see some value in that, all right? So let's load them up one more time, and let me see if I can think of anything that I wanted to tell you to lie about, okay? Because there's a lot out there on this. There's no big mysteries now. There have been a couple of them, you know, check out the web, that have blown up, or the extractor blown out, some things like that. So I don't know, I don't want to make them sound worse than maybe they are, but there have been some issues. It may really not be the best buy in a 22, you know, long rifle, I don't know, semi-automatic pistol. You know, that Taurus looked pretty good, but I've not shot it. I do highly recommend you check out 22 Plinkster's video, as well as Tim's Military Arms channel on this firearm, and anybody else that has had experience with it and shot it. Okay, again, as we always say, this is one sample, one gun, and you just don't know. You know, you don't know. We could have had maybe no malfunctions with ours. It's kind of random, you know, and just like with a Python, you just never know. One specific firearm could have trouble, and the other 100 don't, or 1,000, or whatever. So, again, this is not a firearm that I am interested in buying. You know, it's another negative. People have pointed out how for around $400 you may get it for a little less than that, and it doesn't come with a threaded barrel, and it has just a 10-round magazine. That, you know, you can get more for your money with some other firearms. So I don't mean to bash it. It is a Glock. It's pretty cool. They made a gun just like, size-wise, the Glock 19, Glock 23. It fires a 22. That's pretty cool. So John kind of likes it. He shot for the first time today. That's kind of cool. Just had the one mishap with the light primer strike. Let's shoot that cinder block. See if it just bowls it over. It kind of almost did, didn't it? So, I mean, 22s are fun, but what have we not shot? What needs to be shot? Oh, look at here, a tin can. It's a 22. You've got to shoot a tin can. There, we did it. Now I'll shoot these other tin cans. They happen to have something in them. Let's hit the gong one more time, if we can. I heard it. All right, hit it on the last shot. One thing I know Plinkster talked about was he didn't like the 6 o'clock hold, and I've noticed that's kind of what I get, about a 6 o'clock hold. Now I like a 6 o'clock hold, so that doesn't bother me. But yeah, it's not like most Glocks are kind of right on as far as elevation where you're holding. And so anyway, and then so I appreciate Plinkster and Tim testing these so extensively, because I learned a lot about the firearm, and so it's really just a matter of whether or not we sort of confirm it or we have a similar experience. And I guess in a way we did, maybe not quite as many malfunctions, but but I didn't shoot a variety of ammo. There's no need to. Everybody's out there doing that. So by and large, if I wanted this firearm, I would not have a big problem with how it shoots. Okay, I'd put mostly CCI through it, or the stuff you saw me shoot today, because it seems to do pretty well with it. But you got to check any 22 pistol, especially AL or rifle, see what ammo it likes. Okay, but interesting gun. I'm glad Glock made it. Not my cup of tea. You won't see me probably. I can't imagine buying one. So I don't have a lot of interest. Tim did mention that people who are madly in love with the Glock 19, might want one. Well, I confess, I am madly in love with the Glock 19, but I don't think I have to have one. So anyway, the Glock 44, you've been requesting it, so appreciate Bud sending us one so we can shoot it and see what we think of it, and pass that along to you, and that's what we think of it. It does fairly well, but you're going to have some malfunctions. It's part of life, but life is good.
Oh yeah, that's better. This is a great gun for defense. Oh hey, didn't see you guys there. While I've got you here, I want to remind you of our friends over at Talon Grips and Ballistol. Talon Grips makes grips, can you believe it, for all different types of firearms. You can get rough texture or more of a rubberized texture. It just sticks right on there. You know, really affordable, really cool option to improve the grip for your handguns or rifles. So please check them out at talongungrips.com. You'll be glad you did. And also Ballistol. Dad has been using Ballistol for many years. It's a cleaner and a lubricant, and it's non-toxic. It works really great, and we're happy to have them on board since it's been a part of our shooting endeavor for a very long time. So go to ballistol.com, talongungrips.com. And also, while you're out there, I'm juggling all these things here. Also, while you're on the internet, please do check out our other social media like Hickok45 on Facebook. There's also Hickok45 on Twitter. The real Hickok45 on Instagram. There's a John_Hickok45 on Instagram where I do some things. There's Hickok45.com. You can find us also on Gunstreamer. So check out all that stuff and then watch more videos.